Welcome to pattern making class. I'm your college instructor, Annette Julie, and in the last video we were working on making our radiated darts, like a sunburst. These darts are going to go out from the neckline. We have two short ones and one long one. And if we were to butterfly the pattern on the center front and have the other side, then we'd have 6 darts coming out from the neckline. Well, right now we are going to finish up our first pattern or pattern draft by adding on some seam allowance, and I'll leave the exciting part till the end. So we're going to add 1/2 inch on our shoulder, ½ inch on our side seam, ½ inch in our armhole. We take little short lines and rotate around. Here's the base of our armhole, connecting towards our side seam over there. Now we're going to take a hip curve, and we can connect those lines. Now we're going to do the bottom waist, and I'm adding 1/2 inch. So if you could join this to a skirt or a peplum or a waistband. Let's go ahead and blend that. And I'm missing a little corner right here. Then here on the center front, like I was saying, if you have another big piece of paper, we can fold that like so and duplicate the design. So a lot of patterns are going to say, they're going to say cut on fold. And that literally means this is the fold of the pattern and the fold of the fabric. But in the garment industry, we don't like to cut on the fold too much. But for the sake of this pattern, I'm going to right now cut on fold, so we know it would be duplicated on the other side. Now we're coming up towards the exciting part, that neckline. Let's go ahead and finish what the seam allowance looks like up here. And being that it's a neckline, we only need 1/4 inch to attach a collar or a facing. Or both. This could also use binding on the inside. And here we have a little bit of a curved situation, so I'm going to try to follow that curved line. Right, because our neckline is curved, so the dart ends, and it being a little bit curved as well. And the cutting was a little jagged because I had a lot of layers with tape. So by the time I fine-tune this with my rulers, it'll be a lot more precise. And this is what's called a first pattern. It doesn't look too neat. We're in the developing process. We don't know if it fits anybody. We don't know if we like our design yet. It has not gone into production for the masses. We're just checking a design out. And if you're making a first pattern, you're quite often the first pattern maker or assistant designer. If you're making the production pattern maker, a production pattern, then you're a production pattern maker. And those patterns are cut and sewn as garments and made for hundreds of thousands of people. Well, there's that seam allowance for that neckline. Now we need to bring all of our darts and notches out into the seam allowance area. So here's our single notch for our armhole. I like to put U's on things so I can see where it is. Then we need to bring those dart legs up into the neckline. You're pretty much extending that dart leg up at the same angle. Okay, now we would have notches here and here, right? And here and here. And we have another set here and here. And we have 1, 2, 3 darts that are all going to be on top of each other. So if this is not a fabric that is lightweight, the fullness of the darts could be bulky. So you could do a cutaway dart. You could cut away the inside of the dart if you decide that the fabric is too thick. But if you have a lightweight fabric, maybe it'll work just fine, like a Pima cotton or a silk charmeuse. Just cutting around the dart so we can see what they look like. They're looking nice and neat now, and these final cut lines are precise. So like I was saying, you could cut those darts away. Take a little bit of the fullness out of them if you so choose. So there was our neckline and our shoulder. Cutting the armhole now. You're going to do shorter lines when you're cutting those curves. Now our side seam. Nice long cuts. And our waist. And I believe this pattern might be complete for now. We can always extend our grain line into the seam allowance. Should go all the way to the edge. And pattern information is above and below. So this is our basic front bodice to radiating darts for the neckline. And this was a front, and I was using a size 8, just because that's a standard for the industry, but you can use any size. I'm certainly not a size 8. Use any size you want. This is Annette Julie, and I look forward to having you watch one of my next videos.